midnight. And for the basin of Great Slave Lake, northwest winds 10 knots becoming southeast 10 near midnight. Lake Athabasca, light winds. Mackenzie River, 0, mile 0 to Fort Simpson, light winds becoming southeast 10 knots near midnight. And from Simpson to Tolita, light winds. Tolita at a point separation, northwest winds at 10 knots. And point separation to Kitagazuit Bay, northeast winds at 10 knots. 21 before 7 and checking sports. One NHL coach is out of work. One recently fired coach is back on his feet. And another coach is getting 3 more years of security. Mark Crawford is out after losing 2 seasons as coach of the Los Angeles Kings. And GM Dean Lombardi says he didn't expect the Kings to be world beaters, but he didn't expect the team to be out of the playoffs in January. And Ron Wilson says he's fulfilling a dream. Wilson was introduced as the new coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs less than a month after being fired by the San Jose Sharks. He was the only candidate that interim GM Cliff Fletcher interviewed for the job. There's word Mike Babcock in the Detroit Red Wings have agreed to a 3-year contract with the Stanley Cup winning coach.
Just pause right now, eh?
It's recording. And one of the most popular players to wear a Vancouver Canucks uniform is calling it a career. A source has told Canadian press that Trevor Linden will announce his retirement today. Linden played 19 seasons in the NHL, 16 of them with Vancouver. And also in another, I was going to say another hockey note, but in fact, let's go to the basketball court. A change of time zones, jerseys, and some Academy Award winners cheering them on did wonders for the Los Angeles Lakers. Kobe Bryant was close to MVP form, scoring 36 points on an assortment of spins, drives, and jumps as the Lakers beat Boston 87-71, and that shaves the Celtics' lead in the NBA final to 2-1. Blue Jays outfielder Brad Wilkerson says it feels good to come out and perform well against the team that just cut you. So Wilkerson hit a tie-breaking homer in the 5th to help Toronto to a 3-1 win over Seattle. The Mariners signed Wilkerson in January and cut him last month. And that's sports.
Okay, go on in.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of stories with this torch. Okay.
19 minutes before 7 o'clock. It's been a long journey for George Marcello. He's from Ontario and has spent the last year traveling across the country with something called the Student Torch Relay. It's a cross-country trek to raise awareness about organ donation. And later this morning, his journey will come full circle when it reaches its end in Yellowknife. And George has joined us at this early hour in the studio. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here.
You're almost finished, so how does it feel?
Well, this is actually my 6th campaign that we're finishing. And, you know, there's that jubilation feeling getting to the finish line. But this one was a real tough one for me, and you know, after I'm finished this, I'm actually faced with a lot of problems, which I have to tackle, which I'm not even thinking about today. Today I'm going to enjoy myself, but it's great getting to the finish line. When you say you're going to start something and you get to the finish, it's great.
Tell us more about why you do this. Why is making people aware of organ donation so important to you?
Well, it's important to me, and it's becoming more important to almost everybody. You know, organ transplantation as a medical advancement is recently a new player, and you know the world is actually just starting to get used to the idea of organs getting transplanted. Once upon a time, that wasn't possible. And during the 60s, 70s, and 80s, people that were getting transplanted, people thought that they were hooked up to 100 machines and, you know, they were surviving day by day. And most of the people that were receiving organs were dying of rejection. So I think we're just starting to turn that corner now, understanding that organ transplantation is a cure. It's a way to save lives. It's a way to relieve people from suffering from kidney diseases, heart diseases, liver diseases, lung diseases. Before there was no cure, people would be dying, and now there's a cure. It's organ transplantation. So it's just a matter of getting really everybody of all religions, people from all walks of life, to understand that now we have a way of saving people's lives that need to be saved, and the idea of trying to get everybody to understand this, I think we're just starting to turn the corner on this.
George, you actually started this trek in Yellowknife, so tell us what the genesis of that was.
Yeah, Yellowknife means a lot to me, both personally and in a spiritual sense. We started the SOS4000, that's the name of this campaign, last year actually here in Yellowknife during a hepatitis C conference, and it was the Aboriginal Hepatitis C conference. And I was asked to bring the torch here because a lot of people that are suffering with hepatitis C and are probably going to be in need of a liver transplant. And so organ donation has not been really talked much about in the North. So they asked me to bring the torch here last year as a way to kind of introduce the idea of organ transplantation.
And you have it with you this morning.
And I have it with me this morning. And what else happened during this ceremony? Like, we lit it. It was very moving to have a lot of elders there and to have the music playing, and so what we said, well, the torch just got blessed in Yellowknife, and that's when we announced that we were going to do this cross-country relay with students involved. And so and it wasn't intentional for me to end in Yellowknife, it just happened that way, but I think it just makes sense that it's ending up in Yellowknife after it got kind of started in Yellowknife. So today, there's kind of a spiritual feeling for me knowing that I'm back here in Yellowknife and ending this year-long campaign here.
So what will happen later today? Can you tell us?
Yeah, absolutely. At 11 a.m., we're going to start at St. Pat's School, and Kathleen OBrien has been chosen from that school to become the student champion. We'll carry the torch from St. Pat's. And we'll make our way to Sir John Franklin High School. And Derrick has, forgive me, Derrick, I just can't remember his last name, Polakoff or Derrick P. Sorry, Derrick, has been chosen to be the student torch champion for Sir John Franklin. So together, these kids are going to carry the torch to the legislative building. And at 12 noon, Deputy Premier Miltenberger will be there to receive the torch on behalf of the province. And that's where the final steps of a year-long journey of millions of steps across the country, that's where the final steps are going to end. And, as I mentioned, I'm hoping that in conjunction, there's an apology being done today, as everybody's hearing. I'm hoping that people that are suffering in this area can understand that there's hope, that transplants can help save people that are dying right now, that have no other way of surviving, and transplant's going to be the only option. We're hoping to give those people hope today.
All right. With that, thanks so much for coming in this morning.
I would also like to mention that I wouldn't have been able to get here had it not been for the help of First Air that flew me here, and was able to get to Yellowknife because I'm traveling with no funds, and also Chateau Nova that has been looking after my accommodations, and also a resident from Yellowknife. Her name is Vita Moren, and she's been organizing everything for me in Yellowknife. So I want to really thank all three groups and people, and thank you for bringing me to Yellowknife.
Thanks again, George.
Thank you.
And that's George Marcello, and he's reached the last leg of a cross-Canada journey to raise awareness about organ donation.
Thank you. Perfect.